Hey, what's up YouTube? A lot of people have been asking about this reasoning agent frog deck that I've made. So here's the deck profile for it. To start it off, 2 reasoning. Reasoning is an awesome card. It pretty much can go into any deck. It's pretty much a sacrifice. Basically, you're gonna have to mill cards. And if you run decks with different levels, this card is just automatically an awesome card. Especially it's epically plus if you run a deck that doesn't run a lot of magic and trap cards like this. I only run 10 magic cards and 30 monsters. So reasoning is a very great card for this deck. What it does is that you play it and then your opponent has to pick a monster level, and then you pick up cards from the top of your deck, and then you basically show them to you basically send them to the graveyard, honestly, and then until a monster is picked up. When the monster is picked up, and if that monster is the same level the opponent declared, then it's sent to the graveyard. But if it's not the same level, you special summon it on the field, and the other cards are sent to the graveyard still. Alright. If you get a monster that says this monster cannot be special summoned, like for example, like this monster cannot be special summoned except for, or this monster cannot be normal summoned or set, like Cephalon, then it just gets milled automatically, and then it gets skipped, and then it goes to the next card. So basically, when you play Reasoning in this deck, you would basically always get a special summon unless the opponent guesses the right number. So there's only one monster that cannot be normal summoned in its whole entire deck, which is Cephalon the Time Lord. The reason why Reasoning is very great in this deck is because this deck honestly needs field presence at all time, and this is why I ran this deck. It holds so much field presence, and you can always find tribute monsters, and also you always have a Gachi on the field, or a Zen names on the field to keep your defenses up. So basically, you're always going to have field presence no matter what. So losing life points is not really that scary at all. And you lose life points because of Venus. Venus is broken. The reason why I ran this deck with particularly agents, like I could have ran this with many other builds, but the reason I ran it with agents is because agents is very consistent. It keeps field presence very easily, and Gachi is very good because it powers up all your monsters, and it lives like basically like 3 attacks. So it's awesome. It just keeps field presence. Venus, you pay 500, you get a Shine Ball from your deck or hand. It's like a blood sacrifice. You pay 500. 500 is not a lot. 500 is very awesome. You only pay 500 to basically take out a card out of your deck. So you pay 1500 to get a Gotcha in the field, and milling basically like getting rid of 3 cards out of your deck. That's pretty awesome in my opinion. I ran her at 3 because you honestly would like to get her first turn, because she just makes everything else in your deck easier to get to, like your boss monsters. So yeah, 3 Venus. I ran 2 Earth. Earth is because Earth searches out your Venus, and it's a tuner, and it's a level 2. Basically, that's pretty much what Venus does, and it's also another agent monster. So Earth just does exactly what it needs to do in this deck. Let's say if you reasoning and you got an Earth and you have a dead Shine Ball in hand, because no some of the Shine Ball go straight to a Gachi. Like, this deck doesn't really have much negatives, honestly. No matter what number they pick for reasoning, if you get a special summon, I'm pretty sure you can do something with it in your hand at all times. And to wrap up, the agent count is 3 Shine Balls. This card is awesome. Even if you draw it dead, honestly, you can just sit around and wait till you get a Venus and then play it, or whatever you need to do with it. This card is just awesome and all. And this card, this 8 Venus and the Shine Ball is just a broken combo, period. To get to the boss monster count, we have Obelisk the Tormentor. I run 1 Obelisk, only 1. 3 or 2 will be too cloggy. Obelisk is awesome in this deck because if you play Reasoning and they guess any other number, let's say if you guess 4 and Obelisk is picked up, it's getting special summoned, and it's gonna kick they ass for a while. Well, until the end turn, because then it gets destroyed. But it's pretty awesome though, to play Reasoning and get a 4K beater on the field for free. Like, damn, I would just scoop if Obelisk came out after Reasoning, in my opinion. But yeah, I ran one Cephalon. Cephalon time load is very good in this deck. You run 30 monsters and you pretty much mill very fast because you're always exceeding and synchroing. Like for example, you play Venus, Shine Ball, Shine Ball, Shine Ball, and then Nagachi. Honestly, right there, that's what 5 monsters that could potentially hit the graveyard. Right there, 5. That's half. That's half the cost of Cephalon right there. And then you have all your hand traps and your frog counts and all your other cards. So basically, Cephalon is not a dead card. You might have to wait a few turns if you draw it first turn, but it's pretty much never a dead card. For the next boss, you got the Big Daddy Master Hyperion, handling shit like a boss. That's what he does. He is broken. He is broken. Why is Hyperion broken? He's a one cost special summon. One cost, one card, and you can special summon a 2700 attack monster. Right? All you have to do is banish one agent monster. One from field, hand, or graveyard. That is extremely broken. And then you can banish a light monster from your graveyard, a light fairy monster from your graveyard, and then destroy a card in the field. And if Sanctuary of the Skies on the field, you can blow up 2. I don't run Sanctuary because, you run hand traps like Gorge, Tragodia, and it's just, I don't run a lot of cards that work with Sanctuary anyways to even use it. But this guy's just awesome. He's never really dead, even if you don't have any agents in your graveyard. If you manage to keep field presence with Treeborn Frogs or whatever, you can always just easily tribute for Hyperion easily because you can still normal summon this bastard. That's why he's broken. He's like a BLS on crack, man. It's the stuff there. Next you have the hand traps. I run 2 Chagodias. Chagodia, level 10, awesome. A lot of people a lot of people would not guess the right number. It's very hard because when you play reasoning and they guess the wrong number, let's say you open up reasoning, you play reasoning first turn, and they guess 5 or 6 or 8 or 4 or 3 or 2 or whatever, and you land on Tragodia, and Tragodia is gonna hit the field at 3,000. You could just literally just end turn right there, just chill on the field with a 3,000 attack Tragodia. What do people do against that? They're gonna have to compose. They have to do a lot. You're gonna have to basically waste a card to get rid of this guy because he's just a problem at times when he's that strong. Of course, you gotta run the Gores. Gores is basically, I don't run any traps. I don't run any field effects, field cards. So Gores is just pretty much the necessary evil of the deck. He's a necessary evil. He's just awesome. He gets you 2 cards in the field, so you contribute 2 monsters at a time. Let's say if they attack you directly, you drop Gores, and then the next turn you bring back Treeborn Frog, and then you roll it, toad it, or something. You have 4 monsters back on the field. That's so easy to tribute and do whatever you need to do at all times. A lot of people don't run Battle Fader anymore. I've always loved Battle Fader the minute I've read this card, but I've always ran Fiend monsters. And Battle Fader I admit Battle Fader was way better when Sangan was not banned. But Battle Fader is very good still because you still need those 4 hand traps. Because if you think about it, you just divide it up, 4 hand traps for your card deck, 1 in a 10 chance of having a hand trap, that's better than nothing, you know what I'm saying? I run 1 Caius. It's my only Monarch in this deck. You go, oh, why not Caius, 2 Caiuses, a Ryza? Yes, you can run variants like that, and I honestly think people should, because tributable monsters are very broken, and all the Monarchs have been broken since the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh! Caius is very great in this deck at 1. He handles the situations that you really can't normally handle. Like let's say if there's a Roy of the Kree on the field and you don't have an MST or Roy of the Kree. What am I talking about? A Vanity's Emptiness was on the field and you don't have like a Roy of the Kree or anything. You don't have an MST or Heavy Storm yet. Just Caius that shit. Caius just handles a lot of problems. And a lot of other boss monsters on the field. Caius just basically banishes them for you. Yeah, Caius is just awesome. Now we're going to get into the frog count, which is why the deck is so consistent. I run 2 swap frogs. People could run 3, but I just feel running 2 is good enough. You basically play this card, or you can whenever this card is summoned, you can mill a level 2 or lower aqua monster from your deck, or the side of the field. Remember, side of the field, because sometimes I play this and I forgot that I've only run 5 frogs in the whole entire deck, and I have to send himself to the grave, and that kind of sucks. But The more broken part is this. Once per turn, you can return one monster you control to your hand to normal summon one frog monster except Swap Frog in addition to your normal summon or set this turn. So you can just play Swap Frog, alright, bounce him back to hand, play Rolling Totem face down, play Treeborn Frog face down, or you can just send those to the grave to special summon him, mill another Rolling Totem or Treeborn Frog, return him back, play him again, and mill the other one. The reason I only run 5 frogs in this whole entire build is because it's not really a frog monarch deck. I just want them for field presence, and I feel Rototonin at 1 and Soft Frog at 2 pretty much just handles it, because once I hit Treeborn Frog in the grave, just 1 or 2 in the grave, you're pretty much your job is pretty much done. You're gonna have field presence pretty much the whole entire duel. Next is Rototonin. I run Rototonin at 1. I've considered running Rototonin at 2, but I feel Rolling Totem at 2 would happen if I put Swap Frog at 3, and I just don't want to do that yet. This honestly is the very first version I've made, and I haven't fixed it yet. And there's a lot more ideas I have for this deck. It's just I just don't want to do it yet. I like the deck as is. I just want to leave it as how I first made it. So Rolling Totem at 1, and then Treeborn Frog at 2. Treeborn Frog at 2 is awesome because I can set a Treeborn Frog, and then sometimes they don't attack it, and then I can just get back the other Treeborn Frog, because it says this effect cannot be activated if you control a face-up Treeborn Frog. So if you have one face down, you can have 2 Treeborns on the field technically. Kind of broken. Next you have the Bastard. I've always loved this card. Nobody ever wants to trade me one. But Thunder King Ryo is one of the best cards in the game. He stops special summons. Yeah, he just says, oh, you can't add cards from deck to your hand, which is not a problem for me because I don't run duality. The only card I have that adds cards from my deck to my hand is Earth, and it's only 2 of them. Thunder King shuts down XYZ, shuts down Synchro, shuts down BLS, Chaos Sorcerer, things to special summon out the hand. He's a pretty awesome card, and he's still a 1900 beater, and he's a 4-star. So I have a couple 4-stars in the deck. I think I have like 4 in total. But yeah, that's what he does, and he's a boss. For the other 4-star, I run Evil Sword Mandragora. Mandragora is awesome. It's a special summon if your opponent controls more monsters than you. Say if you have 1 monster in the field and your opponent has 2, you can special summon this shit. And then normal summon again. And then you have 3 monsters, or tribute both those monsters, and you have a Hyperion in the field, or a boss monster in the field, whatever. This card is awesome in all senses, because it's like, I don't feel it's ever dead, because your opponent, there's no way, I don't feel there's a way that your opponent is not going to have any monsters on the field, unless they play like Chain Burn or some trap type deck or whatever like that. And this deck pretty much just overwhelms those very easily. Like, you're going to lose a lot of life points very fast. And it especially summons so quickly that they're not going to be able to keep up against that. So yeah, Mandragora is an awesome card. I've waited for this card to come out in Hidden Arsenal 7. The minute I read this card, I was like, oh, I need this. Because I run ninjas. I run level 4. I run rank 4. I don't fuck with anything else in this game but rank 4. So yeah, Mandragora is awesome. I run 1 Gaga Magician. I think I should run more than 1, probably 2, but 1 has been doing what it needs to do. This is the level switcher of the deck. You know, he's situational. Let's say if you have Venus on the field and it's about to die or something like that, you don't have nothing better to do with it. You play Gaga Magician, call level 3 out, get out your Exceed monster, you know, get out your rank 3s, get out your Zen mains or Acid Golem, whatever you need, and just handle the situation, you know. That's what he does. I run 1 Spirit Reaper. Spirit Reaper is a good card. It's a good offensive card. You know, make your opponent discard. You know, make them lose their hand presence. If you can control your opponent's hand, they draw. Think about it. You draw 1 card per turn. If they're losing that 1 card per turn, they just basically going +0, and they gotta play out their hand for the rest of the duel. Keep hitting them with Spirit Reaper, and also you can just put them face down and they attack to it. Not a lot of people knows how to get over Spirit Reaper. Not a lot of decks get over Spirit Reaper unless they have cards that, you know, target him or pop blow up cards, you know, but not a lot of decks run that anymore. So Spirit Reaper is pretty much safe. And even if they do run cards like that, they're not gonna have it all the time. And Spirit Reaper is just generally a good defense. He just basically stops a battle phase, honestly. He just stops 1 battle phase for you. And that's important. And say if you have a bad hand, you put Spirit Reaper face down and they can't do anything about it for a while, it's done its job. Spirit Reaper, honestly, if it stops your opponent once, it's done its job. You know, it already has done its job, and people should stop looking at it as a bad card. It's a great card, and honestly, if you're running a deck that needs a lot of named monsters, like for example, like Evil Swarms need all the cards to be named Evil Swarm so they can get the exceeds out. If you don't run decks like that, the Spirit Reaper is just awesome. He just sits there and just does what he needs to do. I run two Effect Veilers. Effect Veiler is an awesome card. The meta honestly thinks Effect Veiler is kind of a bad card, and the meta thinks that Effect Veiler is too slow. So there's decks that don't even run Effect Veiler anymore, like Evil Swarms don't even run it anymore. Mermails, none of those decks don't run Effect Veiler, but Effect Veiler is a great card. It stops decks that would really destroy you. Like for example, Inzectors is still a problem, people. Ninjas is a problem. I've defeated so much people with ninjas because nobody runs Effect Veiler. It's just retarded to me. I'll just put Excalibur on the field and just hit you with a 4,000 attack monster over and over again. You can't do nothing about it if you're not running Effect Veiler. I'm just gonna keep destroying all your monsters, overpowering all of them. So Effect Veiler is a great ass card, and people are sleeping on this card. This bitch is awesome. Alright, for the other 10 magic cards I run, I have Allure Darkness because I run 8 dark, so the +2 is always awesome. Heavy Storm because you don't run any traps, so fudge your opponent. Double Summon. Double Summon is awesome is that because let's say you play Venus and you activate this effect 3 times and get 3 Shine Balls with it, right? You can play a Double Summon and then tribute those Shine Balls for an Obelisk right there. Tribute them for a Hyperion right there. Or let's say if you don't have a tribute monster, you just go Venus, Shine Ball, Shine Ball, Shine Ball, play Double Summon, play Earth, get another Venus, and then Synchro for like pretty much any level from 5 to 9, 5 to 11 I think. Any level you want right there. Awesome, right? I don't want Starform Dragon in here because it's not in the TCG yet, so I just don't want to run it yet. Dark Hole because Dark Hole is necessary evil. Foolish Barrier. I was considering running one Zephyros in this deck because he would just be a plus. Such a plus in this deck. Such a plus. Zephyros the Elite. If you're watching this and you want to make a better version of this deck, maybe you should take my suggestions because this is really V1 and I've found no honest reason to make this better because it's just awesome how it is already. But Foolish Burial, awesome card. You pretty much play it, get your Treeborn Frog in the graveyard faster. It's basically your extra mill, It helps you get out those Treeborns in the grave and the Royal Totems in the grave, which is just important to start off the duel, Yeah. Monster Reborn because Monster Reborn can get back your Obelisk and pretty much every monster in this deck but Hyperion, so Monster Reborn. And 2 Misties because you don't run a back row, so your opponent back row, fudge that. Over to the extra deck, I have run 2 Gachi Gachis. You don't really need 3, but there's times that you do need 3, but what I think about it is that you need so much other space for all the other levels and synchros and stuff. So 2 Gachis is just pretty much the best level 2, I think. The best rank 2 I think you can run. I run 1 Zen Mains because I don't have a lot of level 3s in this deck, and Zen Mains is basically sits on the field and does what it needs to as a defensive card, and you have the best offensive rank 3, which is Acid Golem. He just kills people. Acid Golem hits the field, and they have to find a way to get rid of Acid Golem because Acid Golem is just a problem most of the time. Maze Stroke again, once again, he's a defensive card like Zen Mains and Gachi. He basically can lift 3 attacks. And he's a Book of Moons for face-up monsters. He's awesome. Utopia negates attacks, and Utopia is just, Utopia. Why would you not run Utopia if you're running level 4s? Photon Strike Bouncer. Photon Strike Bouncer. I honestly consider taking this out because Photon Strike Bouncer was there when I ran more Monarchs, but there's times that you do play that, have the Caius out or have Tragodia, you get Caius. You have Tragodia out, you have Caius in the graveyard, and you make a level 60 Monster Born, you Caius and go for Photon Strike Bouncer, or you have Caius on 3, you play Gaga Magician and make a level 6 and go for Photon Strike Bouncer. Photon Strike Bouncer is honestly there because I feel it's like one of the best ranked 6s, and the deck really is situational, so I just pretty much put the best of every rank in here, so that's why Photon Strike Bouncer is at 1. Draco Sack, yes, only run 1 level 7 in this deck, which is Gores, other than Black Rose, which is my Synchro, but Draco Sack is because he's the best rank 7 in the game. This deck, yeah, this is the best rank 7 in the game. Heliopolis is awesome in this deck. You can get Hyperions out, you can get out level 8 Synchros out fairly easily. I've done it like all the time in this deck. It's just stupid. I've overlaid a Hyperion in a Stardust just because I want to go ham. Heliopolis is very good in this set because every time you're going to have this guy on the field. Since you're on no trap, you're gonna pretty much always gonna have 3-1 frog in the field. So his effect is always going to be live. You can at least pop one card by do a 3-1 frog. And if you do Royal Toad, you can pop 2 cards, and you have a card in your hand, you can pop 3, 4, 5. So Heliopolis is pretty damn great. Next up, you got the synchros. I'm on a few synchros, like 6 of them. I'm on Catastor. Catastor is just amazing. Catastor is amazing. I run level 4s. You have Effect Veiler, you can run a Catastor. I have Venus. Venus is level 3. I can play Earth next to it with double summon, or see if Venus lives, I can play Earth and then go to Catastor with a Gotcha in the field. Catastor be 2600 with his effect, which is just awesome. So, one Catastor. Iron Chain Dragon is because you have 2 Earth and you have level 4, so you can pretty much go into level 6 synchros. He's pretty much the best generic level 6 synchro you can pretty much run right now. And it makes your opponent mills 3, so your opponent can lose important cards, and yeah, Iron Chain is just awesome. Black Rose is the best level 7 synchro that's generic. It's situational, blows up the field. You don't really have much to lose if you blow up the field, because usually you're going to have things like Gotchi or Zenmaid or Tree-Born Frog in the field that you can just easily get back. And your opponent just goes super negatively Black Rose. So Black Rose is there because of that. I run 1 Stardust. My level 8 is 1 Stardust and 1 Scrap Dragon. In my opinion, Stardust, Scrap Dragon, and Crimson Blade are the only 3 level 8s you need right now for the meta, because the meta has changed for you to need XYZ monsters. So Scrap Dragon, Stardust, and Crimson Blade is the only one you need. I didn't have space for Crimson Blader, and I feel like I didn't want to attack because there's so much traps I have to run into, since I don't run traps or counter traps. Like, you know, people think about it, some people do run Solemn Judgment and Dark Bribe and stuff like that. I don't. All I have is the Hyperion pop and Heliopolis pop and Heavy Storm and 2 MSDs. So traps are a problem sometimes. It happens, but this deck honestly overwhelms them so easily, so it's not really always a problem. So I don't like to run Crimson Blader because he has to kill something. And yeah, this is honestly, I love Crimson Blader. There's just no space in this deck at all for that. There's no space in this extra deck. Like, you can argue that you can get rid of the Drago Sack and the Photon Strike Balancer, but I feel these guys are very important as a situational card. Like, they really are very more. They're better than Crimson Blader in my opinion. They have better effect. So that's why synchros are kind of like dying. You know, XYZ monsters only get like 2 detaches and they're done. But synchro monsters can just do once per turn effects. But synchros they're trying to kill synchros slowly. So Crimson Blader had no space. Mistworm. Let's go over this. You play Earth, right? You search Venus. You play double summon, alright? You play Venus. You activate Venus effect. You shine ball, and then you just synchro your Earth, your Venus, and 2 shine balls, which is right there 9, and get a Mistworm, and you compulse 3 of their cards, and they're gonna be sick. Mistworm is an awesome card, and if you run synchros and if you're on various levels, if you can get up to 9, you should definitely run a Mistworm. There's no side deck because I felt there's no need for a side deck. So that's the deck profile for you guys. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, share. If you have a better version of this deck, or you're gonna make a better version, I think you should do it, and send me it and let me see, and then I'll just, you know, congratulate you on it. I'll give you a shout out, whatever you want. Thanks.